legit wonderful.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself.
Don't enjoy yourself. You're only allowing these people to just make more of this with this secret Saiyan who's stronger than freaking SS Blue Vegito.
Cool.
And he's just in the shadows and never mentioned and in his secret prison.
Cool. Cool.
This is what we're getting.
Yep. But people recognize it's a fun joke, fluff, who gives a shit. As opposed to, here's Jiren, the greatest villain I've ever seen.
But he is, though.
Cool. Yep. Get in there.
That sounds like a very similar to reaction that you just had about Dragon Ball Heroes, though, so I'm confused.
No. I was talking, DA showed me another Heroes thing, and I'm just like, cool. No. Super is trash.
There's the tenors of BG's cools that you have to like really listen for the subtlety. Cool is like, yeah, he's okay with it. Cool is he's pissed off at it.
We in there. Trunks and Vegeta's fuse. Cool. Get in there.
Jiren?
Yep. No.
Anything Jiren is like, nah. My girl Belle took me straight to the top.
Why am I not surprised, Belle?
They weren't ready for it.
You almost lost to a Ganon.
You don't. That's the story of my life.
You're almost losing to a Ganon?
Almost losing to Ganon. Because no matter who you are, you're always one hit away from almost losing to a Ganon. It's not fair.
Is Ganon really
I'm just imagining, like, just milestone moments of your life, like graduating high school. You almost failed. It's just your teacher stamping an F on your paper. Doria!
Go to your job interview for your current job, and he's just waiting there behind the door, charging the kick, just waiting.
All right, let me open this door to the workshop. No! Pokemon had another little trailer thing. Showed off some new Dynamax forms, which are like the giant forms. Charizard looks fucking
So dumb.
I'm so
I
tired
hate
of
all
Pokemon.
of it. How y'all hitting 1,000 with all the humans and the Pokemon are just stinking up the joint. That coffin looks so dumb.
I like Dynamax Charizard. He looks pretty fucking
They
sick.
keep wheeling out Charizard.
And I'm okay with that.
I'm sick of it. Blastoise and Venusaur gets no kind of love. Char is always Charizard, and I'm sick of it.
It's because Charizard, man.
Yeah. Charizard the best.
He's not the best.
He is the best.
Charizard the best.
He's not.
But
He is.
so they showed off a bunch of different Dynamax forms, and they have ones for the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. And I just love the fact that Let's Go Pikachu's Dynamax form is just original fat Pikachu.
Seriously,
It is
it's
all
amazing.
it is.
Can we talk about Meowths, though?
I hate it. It looks so stupid.
Long cat.
I hate it.
Very long cat.
Yeah.
Like, Pikachu's like, oh, okay, that's a cute callback. Meowth. Wait, guys, what the fuck?
That's the, you know. That was the drugs finally kicking in. Like, they had some good designs, and then, like, at the peak of the creative portion of their high, they made Sirfetch'd, who's amazing. And then then they lost the buzz, and Dynamax Meowth came out of it. Robert Downey Jr.'s Doolittle.
Oh, did you
The
see
accent
the Reddit?
the accent is the thing.
Uh-huh.
Did you see the Reddit stuff?
No.
Wait, what?
The Reddit stuff surrounding Doolittle. There was a dude that was working on a production company, and he just started releasing information. So the director was a piece of that clearly was out of his league and did not know what he was doing and
great.
micromanaging everything. So they would be shooting for the day, and the people would go, so where are the animals going to be placed? Because we need to know where Downey's going to be standing so we can place the animals there in post. And he goes, we'll figure it out. Just get this shot of shooting. And there's like 5 stories of that.
Interesting.
We'll feel it out. Great.
The dude ended it with, I don't know who the production company is that they brought in, but if they can make it even watchable, they all deserve a raise. So he's thinking this is gonna be a dumpster fire.
Interesting.
I'd believe it, which would be very sad for Downey. I feel like he'd just kind of be annoyed.
Who cares? He doesn't care.
He doesn't.
need it.
He's
This
made
dude
his
is
money.
doing. This is a passion project out there.
Yeah.
He's just like, whatever, freaking dog movie, polar bear. Let's rock it.
Yeah,
He don't need this.
He's set for life.
Oh yeah, he's done. He's 100% done.
If they just go, this guy's eating 5 devil fruits, nobody wants to see that. Because it's such a
you
drop
say
from
that.
the Oda quality.
You say that.
You say that, but we got Jim Bay fans.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast of stuff. I forgot what episode number this is.
183.
tired.
What? What'd you say? 186?
183.
183. Wow.
183.
Okay. 183. Wow. And I also there's probably going to be an echo in the cast because I had the audio on and on stream. It's okay. Shit's happening right now. All over.
Yeah, with you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
welcome back, everybody. Realize that the we're about to stream music is like way jovial for the subject matter that we're going to be going over today. So that was
What
the
can
thing.
you do?
Yeah. So yeah, obviously, as is everybody else is going to be talking about right now, just even with how small you are, we are going to be talking about everything that's been happening over the past week, the protests for Black Lives Matters,
2020's next level.
for George Floyd, and what have you. But to start off, in all honesty, I'm going to shut the fuck up because this movement is not really about me. BGDA, if you guys have anything you want to talk about.
Not necessarily. I feel like everybody has a voice as long as you support it.
Yeah, you got something to say. It's not like move on to the back, white people. It's our time. If you support somebody, you're just like, man, I got a black friend that they've been having it a little hard. You know some of the struggles that we've been through, Michael. So it's not like hey, I've got no place to talk about this.
Oh, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, you guys should be the first voice.
Whatever. That's not equality. That's not equality. Somebody got something to say. They should say something. I ain't got nothing to say. I'm not discriminated against. I got a pretty good job. I got a white freaking job in a very white neighborhood, and I'm treated just fine. Next subject.
I've had discrimination with cops. I was walking down the street one day. I had come off work. My friends had come up there. We were all just walking to their various homes together before I caught the bus home. And it was 2 squad cars and 4 cops with lights jumped out and just started patting us down like, y'all got anything? Like, what are you doing? We're just walking. Yeah, that's basically the only discrimination I've ever had.
So nobody else in this call has literally been tackled and beaten by police? Just me? Just me.
You've been based off what?
I mean, look at him.
Back when my brother went through that whole thing. I don't know if you guys remember the whole thing with my brother when he went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But when the thing whole started, essentially, the neighbor that filed charges, claimed he had sent illicit messages through Facebook. So 4 detectives, 6 uniformed officers, and SWAT cars were outside my house. They stormed our house, tackled all of us, restrained everybody, and put my dad in handcuffs, and took every piece of technology in the house. In case you remember, I lost my computer, my cell phone. That's when that happened. I had a armed detective tackle me to the ground and threaten to arrest me and end up canceling all of my college future, because they knew that, if I resisted, to hand over everything.
That's
They just stormed in.
The NYPD is so trash.
Most PD.
I was literally about to say that.
Legit. My godfather is a narcotics detective, and my uncle is a desk sergeant. Both of them were kept in complete darkness throughout this entire thing of when it was getting planned. When it happened, they both came over, mad as fuck, and were pushed aside. Because they had been disrespected by not being informed that their family was being targeted by an investigation.
See? ACAB.
Mm-hmm. So that's
all cops are bastards.
It's
I don't like that.
Really?
Yeah, no. That's putting a blanket on everything. I don't like blanket things like that, because every single person, from the dude that's been there for a day to the person that's been there for 2 years to the person that's been there for 50, they're not all. Some people are just like, I want to do good, and if they're able to and not able to, it's blanket.
Problem
things
is
like that
that
always just
even
like,
the quote unquote good cops can't be good cops right now, because if they step out, their pension's gone, their career is gone.
That's
the few that have, you've been seeing it on social media, whatnot. The ones that step out and have tried to help have been essentially relieved of duty and no longer will receive a pension.
but
So
I've
they're
seen
kind
Twitter. I've seen on Twitter a lot of cops are like marching with people. A lot of cops taking knees.
I've also been seeing counter images of that, of people from the sidelines taking pictures of them kneeling and then rioting and then gearing up and then targeting the protesters.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it is
things I want to say about that.
Yeah.
I think it was Chris Rock, or it was some comedian that said being a police officer is one of those jobs that there can't be a few bad apples. If there was like a pilot that was like, most of our pilots are very good, but there's a few bad apples that like crashing into mountains, nobody's going to want to fly. And that's the way it is with cops. You can't just have like a few bad apples. It literally spoils the whole bunch. It makes people look at all cops with the same eye.
Mm-hmm. But that's not the same thing as saying all cops are this thing, though.
But you've got to figure that based on everything that has happened, you've got to figure that there's more bastard cops than
more. But the all is 100%, and that's not fair.
You are very
I'm very against labels and all.
You're very against 100%.
Yes, but I'm just saying that's not fair to the friendly
the big
cops
thing
that are just like.
The big thing I think that represents the ACAB is it's a statement on the system. Just because I'm kind of the same way as you.
Systemically, all cops are bastards.
Like, I am not a fan of putting 100% labels on anything. To me, saying all cops are bad is the same thing as saying all looters are rioters. Like, that's not the case.
Or all rioters are looters.
Yes. All protesters are looters. That's what I meant. Because I have kind of personal ties to police. I have family that are police officers, very close family. I don't want to say who or whatever, just because that's their life, their business. I
can say right now, based on my family members who are cops, I was raised being told by cops to not trust cops.
And
exactly
one of my friends is a cop. He picked me up off work. This was before everything happened. This was like a week into like the stay-at-home order, a week or two into the stay-at-home order. And we were talking. He was like, "Yeah, you hear a lot about cops being racist and doing all this dirty stuff, but when you're on the inside, you really start to see it, and you just gotta kind of turn a blind eye to it to do your job." Now he's one of those quote unquote not all cops that are just trying to do his job and do good things, but then you look at the system that he's around, and it's just like, this is terrible.
And that's
essentially
But
even the good
what about
cops
the
were
people
set
that
up
don't
to
know
fail.
about that system?
What
What
do you
about the
mean?
people who aren't turning a blind eye? What about the people who aren't pulled into the back room going, okay, look at all this stuff and this is what you got to deal with?
I haven't heard much people before this incident, before right now. How many times do you hear somebody speaking out against that stuff? Whereas right now we have cops literally on the air band in leaked audio going, these people are blocking the lanes, and another cop is saying run them down, and another cop is saying shoot them.
Yeah, that's bad.
So, but this is what I'm saying. When would that be reported if we didn't hear this leaked audio? So even if these good cops don't see it, it's still there.
Mm-hmm. But if they don't see it and they don't know about it, how are they bad or bastards? If they're just doing
Again, it's a systemic thing. We're looking at cops, not a individual. It's like a person is smart, but people are stupid. It's very much like that. You can't just go, oh no, that person's not stupid. Yes, we know that person's not stupid.
Well, systemically, there's more black people in prisons than white people.
Mm-hmm.
Are systemically black people criminals?
But you got to look at it because of the way that cops are. A white person
or the way that black people are.
Let me explain it.
Yeah, no, but you know that there are black.
There are black people that do a lot of stupid and criminal things. But what I'm saying is, if a white person and a black person have the same amount of weed on them, and the white person is just like, stop doing that, move along, and the black person gets locked up, you could see why the stats would be there's more black people. Because the white person was just let go, whereas the black person was locked up. Now, that's not to say that black people are out here just robbing people and killing people all willy-nilly. But the more black people thing in prison has no credence when a white person doing the exact same thing may be let off. Like, there was that time that a white kid had raped this girl and left her in near a dumpster or whatever. And it's just like, we don't want to lock him up because it's going to ruin his future for this one incident. You're not going to get a lot of that with black people. But this dude literally raped somebody. They had all types of proof of it. And it's just like, well, the judge is like, well, I don't want to ruin his future. So we're going to give him like probation. That's the systemic thing.
And when officers are approaching a situation, say it was Brock Turner getting caught raping a woman versus a black man the same age raping a woman, more than likely that black man's dead. And that's another part of it, is the whole weed situation. Again, how cops are approaching these situations. Prime example, what happened to George Floyd. Like all that kind of stuff is just kind of ingrained into that system. And we're now even seeing how just kind of the power of police, like what that means seemingly to some of these officers during, like, there is a great Twitter thread right now. It's actually the same lawyer I was following for the Vic Mignogna stuff.
Ricotta?
No, Greg Doucette.
Okay, good. Because he's kind of...
He is the pioneer of the Threadnought, which was the whole thread where Vic fans were trying to discredit him, doxed him, what have you, and has this whole giant fucking thread that lasted an entire year. He is also, I even noticed this during that whole year of the Threadnought, that he is an outspoken critic of police brutality, mostly in his home state of North Carolina. He has a thread right now of various people at these protests that were protesting peacefully that end up getting tear gassed, assaulted, brutalized by police. It is 200 incidents and counting. And it's just more and more and more and more and more every day.
And even going back to the George Floyd thing, they say that he was passing off a counterfeit 20, and that's why they arrested him and did all that. And then there was a white guy on Twitter that said George Floyd was the same age as me. I passed off. I got put in handcuffs for passing off a fake 20 that I didn't even know about. The difference is George Floyd is dead, and for me, it's just a story I tell at parties sometimes. That's the type of systemic thing. Because he was black, he was treated a certain way, whereas if he was white, he wouldn't be treated a certain way.
And to me, like, something just today that was extremely telling, something you posted, honestly, BG, where you said when you go into a store and you don't see anything you want to buy, you very intentionally look at something by the door to see,
Yeah,
like,
you do that as well.
100% of the time.
100% of the time. So it doesn't look like I'm stealing.
I don't have to do that.
Every time I'll walk through the whole store and then I'll stop by the door and look at another bag of chips or something.
Just so it looked like I'm not rushing out the door.
Exactly.
And that's just...
And DA didn't even know I had posted that, but he knew exactly where you were going with it.
Yeah, I have, like, that to me, I read that and I'm like, holy shit. And just like, I have, one of the, as far as like my side of all of this, like, I am the person that is least affected out of any of us. I grew up in white suburbia incarnate. Never really was exposed to racism, at least in, like, directly, or systemic issues with police ever. Like, not until, honestly, probably where I met you guys. And as the years have kind of gone on, like, different people that I have friended on social media from my hometown and elsewhere, I've seen stuff that they've posted, seen things here and there, some members of my own family, and I have stayed silent. Just because I am a non-confrontational person by nature. I just, not a fan. I don't like hurting people's feelings. I don't like feeling angry, what have you, so I typically have avoided this stuff. And I'm fucking done with it, to be perfectly honest. Certain things that I have seen, stuff that people have said in my feeds and my social media threads and what have you, that honestly infuriate me. And I think it was yesterday where I kind of finally had just a little bit of a tipping point where I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. I don't care about other people's feelings on this subject, what have you, as far as, like, trying to make everybody feel nice, what have you. Shit needs to change.
There are just legit ignorant people that... There was the Facebook post. This just made me laugh so hard. This person just did not get it. They posted that blue cop line through the flag. So it's just like Blue Lives
exactly
Matter.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, and then in the comments, somebody's like, Blue Lives Matters, what about other jobs? Cops, teachers, teachers, mailman, such and such. And the person that posted the Blue Lives Matter went, yeah, but those jobs aren't being attacked right now. And that's very much what it is with Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. Black people are being attacked. Yes, we know all lives matter, just like all jobs matter. But that's not what's being attacked right now.
You know something? I was a all lives matter type of person. I was just like, what? All lives matter. But then freaking Erica Limbeck on Twitter set me straight because she was just like, yeah, all lives matter, but you wouldn't go into a breast cancer survivor guild and just go, all cancer survivors matter. Like, it's not the time or the place for that. I was like, you know what? That's fair.
I mean,
and the thing about Black Lives Matter is nobody is saying only Black Lives Matter.
It's just right now.
Yes.
This is the biggest. And
that's what people conflate it as just like, Black Lives Matter. Why should only Black Lives matter? All lives matter. Yes, all lives do matter. But Black Lives Matter in that they shouldn't be choked out for 8 minutes because they were accused of passing off fake 20s.
Yeah, another metaphor that I've seen too is someone's just like, help, please, my house is on fire. And someone else is like, well, what about my house? It's like, what about your house? Like, my house is on fire. It needs help. All houses matter. It's like, yeah, but your house isn't on fire right now. Like, why can't I get water too? Yeah, like,
That's
I actually
the type of ignorance. And there are so many people that are just showing their true colors. Dude, a girl just had her college scholarship taken away because she's just like, I'm tired of all these blacks saying blah blah blah. It's just like, and it was a thread, and somebody was like, I went into this thread like we just had this topic, and I went, oh no, it's another teen that did it. Because there's just several people just going, black people, shut the up. It's not that serious, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, you just don't understand. And then people go into like Nintendo threads and Nickelodeon, like, why are you doing this? This stuff is for kids. You shouldn't be, this isn't the platform for that. But you have these 17, 18, 19-year-old people that never grew up learning about this racism stuff going, shut up, black people. It's not that serious.
Exhibit
All
A.
lives matter and blah blah blah.
Exhibit A, me.
Yeah,
Never exposed to it.
Oh yeah, no, it sucks. Been there, done that. Growing up when I was living in Florida, I was targeted for being white in a mostly Latino environment. I had a whole bunch of Cubans call me fucking, oh god, like puto gringo, all kinds of shit. I got jumped in school for it when I was living in Florida for that 6 months. Just for being white.
and we're not going, white lives don't matter because he got jumped on for that was a racist thing and he got jumped
my
for
mouth
it.
was open just to say that, but you cut me off.
Yep.
You don't speak for us.
But
Yeah, whatever, bro. This ain't about you.
Yep.
Woo.
yeah, and that's like everybody. I feel like all races have had some form of racism towards them. Even a lot of black people feel like they can't be racist towards white, but there are a lot of blacks that used to play the knockout game, which would they just be like, I'm gonna knock out a white person today. That's racist stuff. That's a hate crime. So it's not, when people say Black Lives Matter, they're not just saying, because you're black, you matter more. It's just that blacks want to matter as much. And they simply do not at this moment.
Yeah. It's the truth.
I like how
Yeah.
you say they and not we.
No, I do that
On
too.
our true colors.
No, I do that too. Even at work, even though I'm management, the ownership hates the fact that I say they instead of we. Like, I don't feel like I'm party all right now. Like, back up.
I feel like because I haven't seen as much, I shouldn't use the we.
No, I feel the exact same way. It's like if we grew up in the suburbs, which we did not. We had some stuff going on, but if we grew up in the suburbs, I'm going to be like, we. I'm like, no, that's not my place to say we. I haven't personally been harassed too much because of who I am by the cops. There's other incidents that may or may not have occurred that the cops were involved, but that's over there.
For
So,
birds.
I haven't seen too much of that. I don't know too many people, but I know it's going on out there and it's all that good stuff. Bad stuff, actually.
All that good stuff.
Oh,
Racism. Hell yeah. All
Hey,
that
you know what's good? Change. So it's bringing forth good stuff.
Yeah.
Cut that part out, Mike.
And it actually is, because there's a lot of people that are saying like the riots don't work. We should have a peaceful thing is so stupid because it's been peaceful for so long, and then literally a black man is killed on camera with a boot on his neck for 8 minutes. But I literally lost my train of thought. What was the very first thing I said?
The peacefulness and how, like,
Oh yeah, okay.
how,
They're
like,
saying the riots
people are
don't work.
saying people shouldn't be violent, and I agree with you. Colin Kaepernick literally was trying to lead a peaceful protest for this very problem.
And people tried to conflate it into being about he's disrespecting the flag and our troops, and it's just like, no, there's a systemic problem, and I'm kneeling because I don't support that problem. And you don't support our troops, then you don't support America. See, and that's where the bull crap happened. And that was the narrative that was spun. So many white people hate Colin Kaepernick just because he quote unquote hates the troops, quote unquote hates the flag. Just like Drew Brees was interviewed recently, and they were asked how he felt about people kneeling before the game, and he goes, I don't believe in anybody disrespecting our flag. But that's not what it's about, Drew. But the whole thing I was saying was that with people rioting and stuff and causing all the noise, the cop that wasn't arrested was arrested, charged with 3rd-degree murder, and then 2nd-degree murder, as well as the cops around him are arrested for being accomplices. So because of this, it went from 0 arrests to 1 arrest to an upgraded arrest and 3 other arrests. It clearly worked.
When it probably would have been a
I don't like it.
Firing, and then probably just shifted to a new position. I'm in agreement too. Like, a lot of people, kind of going back to what DA is saying, or was saying before, where it's just like, if you support X, then you support Y. Like, X equals Y. You are supporting Black Lives Matter, you support looting. No, we don't. Like, I had a very long conversation with a friend who, me and him both have very different political ideals. Got into it a little bit on Facebook, and then he texted me privately. And basically, he was how I was, is how I was. Like, he claims to be moderate, was very middle. He wants to be very middle ground on things. But this is beyond opinion to me. Like, this isn't there's a post that I had put up not too long ago, where it basically was like the focus. You need to put the focus on why this is happening. Someone was just like, yeah, the post was, it's sad that a black man was killed, but why are people looting and rioting? And it's like, you should flip that paradigm. It's bad that people are rioting and looting, but why was an innocent black man killed by a cop? And people are putting the focus on the wrong thing and why this is happening. And that's the big thing I've been trying to stress to people, at least in my social circles, is yes, looting, rioting, violence, what have you, that should be condemned. That stuff is unlawful. People that are rioting, that are destroying public property, that are destroying private property, businesses, small businesses, should be arrested. But when a large chunk of this violence is brought on by the police themselves, hence the Twitter thread that I was posting before, where a lot of these peaceful protests are descending into this violence because of police aggression, you need to then analyze and look, okay, these things are bad. Why are they happening?
Yeah, they're looking at the aftermath, like the effect and not the cause.
Exactly. And one thing I had posted in response to somebody where I had posted that post and someone was like, well, that's not like someone was like, well, that's not the order that they happen. I'm like, the order of operations here has no bearing whatsoever. When you treat cancer, you don't treat the symptoms. You treat the cause. And that's what people have to look at in this situation, is why this is happening. Why are people protesting? Why are people angry? Why the violence? And that needs to be addressed.
Just and looking at the rioting, protesting, and violence.
And the not the funny thing, like the interesting thing about this too is just like a lot of these protests that have happened over the past few years, many during the Obama era too, like came some change, a little bit of change happened, they went, came and went. All 50 states, I believe, yesterday had a protest. Yeah. Every single one.
All 50 states and 13 countries.
Yep. That was the next point I was about to bring out. this is
Really
happening
quickly,
across...
do we know the numbers in Hawaii? 'Cause I can't imagine it was more than like 8. Not only are they really small, they're really chill.
There was
It's
a
like, hey, this is wrong. And then they just start doing a hula dance.
there was a Facebook post or a Twitter post where it was just like my mom wanted to organize a protest, but nobody wanted to join her, so she just marched by herself. And it was just some lone white lady just like can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's places out there that have very few numbers, and it's just like I support the cause, so I'm marching, I'm protesting, I'm doing whatever.
But yeah, just to me, the bigger fact is the other countries around the world. And these aren't like small protests in some of these countries. These are large, thousands of people protests. New Zealand, they had, oh my God, I'm going to forget the people that they have the like warrior chant dance. Holy shit. Someone please help me.
Okay.
Oh yeah, as far as geography, you could just I throw my hands up on that one. It's a subject that
I know the
not-
dance name, the people's name that do it.
God, I keep
Aborigines?
thinking Maui, but no, it's
I would have to look it up. But yes, so just like seeing stuff like that, Amsterdam, Johnny Boyega gave a very impassioned speech today.
Haka, Poi, Maori.
Maori. Yes.
Maori. Yeah, Maori. Yes. Yeah, the ones like Johnny Boyega, I gotta give props to him where he just the tweet
He's
that he put,
killing it.
the tweet where he put, was just like, I probably just ruined my career, but fuck it. I'm like, dude, you good. And I love how
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele, thank you. It's just like, oh, we're good. Yeah, there's I mean, there's so much to go over. Honestly, one of the cities that has seen the most action has actually been where I live. Columbus, Ohio has not stopped protesting for a week now. Most of it is
they marched from downtown to the east side, and just driving, that's about a 25-30 minute drive if you use the freeway. If you're just going straight down Gratiot, you're probably looking at closer to 35.
Mm-hmm.
They walked all the way from downtown to Gratiot, and because we have a curfew, the cops arrested hundreds of them and then started kneeling and protesting with them. Like, why? You've already arrested all the people, and then it makes it feel more like a photo op and we stand with you, when you guys just literally arrested hundreds of people, including the person that had organized the protest.
Speaking of photo ops,
dude, these white people are horrendous.
Oh yeah.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
I
really like white people, and I really like Trump. That man is handling it in the worst possible way. Did you guys see that video of him holding up a Bible?
Yes.
It's the Bible. He just goes, "It's a Bible." I cried laughing. It's a Bible.
Did you see the video that the official White House Twitter posted?
Dude, that's like a trailer. He's just walking up all cool. Somebody said it looked like he was walking up for Celebrity Apprentice or something.
And not only is it just
it was actually, hold on, sorry, Mike. It was actually 1-to-1 to something Hitler has done. Literally 1-to-1. Hitler did the same thing in the beginning to appeal to the religious Zionists of Germany. Same thing. He carried their holy text into a meeting, holding it up just like Trump was.
There's a picture that is almost a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
But, and so, we all started off knowing each other as video editors making AMVs. They couldn't even cut a song fucking right. Amongst everything else that I hated about that, the fact that they violently remove peaceful protesters. And this wasn't DC police. This was military police under the orders of the federal government that instigated and violently removed the peaceful protesters from. The fact that he staged this walk to just get a whole bunch of photo ops. The fact that he used this church as a prop, that the actual ministry of that church, the actual priests and clergy of that church didn't even know that it was going to happen, were helping protesters, giving out water and talking with people. They got violently removed as well and have publicly denounced what has happened. The fact that Trump just grabbed a random fucking Bible, held it upside down, which I'm pretty sure, and he had it backwards, which I'm pretty sure if he was holding it the right way, it would have been an upside down fucking cross, which would have been the sign of the Antichrist. And that statement, the fact that he just goes, it's a Bible, and then just the tippity top of that, the other fact of him saying that he would dominate the protesters, which any language, any type of message whatsoever where you use the term dominate does not call for peace.
No.
At all.
He's already called these protesting areas a battle space. His words.
Yes.
He told United States governors that
governors
if they
and
don't
stuff too.
dominate
Terrible.
the battle spaces, he will deploy the military.
Telling governors they're weak when he is hiding in his bunker.
Mm-hmm.
Turning the lights off for the first time besides a presidential death in the history of our country.
Yep.
And then just on top of all of that, a professional team working for the federal government couldn't fucking edit a song, right?
This really sticks your craw.
Just someone put to that video, I think it was actually someone at Rooster Teeth, and was like, hey, I fixed it for you. And they put it to the Imperial March from Star Wars. And I was like, fuck, yes, this works too damn well. Ugh.
Horrible.
Yeah, the whole thing is fucking atrocious.
A lot of people like Trump because under him, the stock market has went up. People are making more money. Unemployment's down, all that. He might be a competent president, but he is a horrible person. And he does not deserve this office. There was a thread way before all this happened on Reset Era where it was like, why are people always making fun of the U.S.? Because we have an idiot as a president. He's just a stupid, intolerant man.
I'm all for President Goof. The meme in chief. I'm all in there. He makes me laugh like no other.
He's the DSP of president.
Every single time, I'm just like, wow, this is amazing.
Where he's just like, can we inject solvents into us?
Just clean it out and.
Yeah, the appropriate term is morally bankrupt. And that's honestly to me.
It's funny because he's also financially bankrupt before the presidency.
Yeah, still hasn't released his tax returns.
He never will.
And that's like one of the biggest things as far as like how I tend to look at different politicians and stuff like that. To me, politics are going to be politics. There's going to be things with every single person candidate out there that you agree with or disagree with. For me, at the end of the day, when I am voting for leaders for whatever office, the first thing I look at is moral character. First thing. And it is such a weight for me. And that is why I was a big fan of Bernie. Despite what you think.
This is the thing. Bernie was showing a lot of what he wanted to do. Whereas people like Biden are trying to placate to certain demographics, like us black people, going on the freaking Breakfast Club talking about if you vote for Trump, then you ain't black. Like, that's not you, dude. Don't do that. But it's just like and Hillary did the same thing. Stop trying to placate to black people. Show it through your actions instead of just slanging up your verbiage a little bit.
Yeah, but that's the thing is they can't. These people, like Mike has pointed the term, these people are actually morally bankrupt. They don't actually care. To them, this is
I think Bernie did.
Bernie did. I'm saying Hillary, Biden, and a lot of these other Dems especially, they don't actually care. To them, this is a job, and they are simply trying to vie for the next promotion. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Very much the same with a lot of corporations doing the whole "we stand with our black," like WWE talking about "we stand with our black employees." Dude,
the NFL.
The NFL, that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Y'all got Colin Kaepernick out of the entire organization for peaceful protesting of systemic racism, and you then go, "We stand with the black people," and no, shut up. That's not you. You've proven who you are.
There have been a couple, like a bunch of this is that for sure. It's just like they're making a statement for purely PR benefits. There has been two that I can think of off the top of my head where I'm just like, you guys.
We already talked about Drew Brees and the stupid crap he said. Yeah. He still. How do people still not get that kneeling is not to go screw the flag, the literal flag of America and America itself, but it's the systemic problems within America. No country is perfect, but America is so flawed, and people want to gloss over those flaws just to keep living in their little bubble of whatever.
That's just because so many of the prior generation were raised under the flag of America is perfect.
Greatest country on earth.
Because they were raised by the generation that was brought up by the golden generation, the people who won World War II. These people who are currently of age, the boomers, as you will, they don't actually know hardship. They've never experienced it, not a day in their lives. They were able to be raised in the greatest period of American prosperity in world history of any nation. And then they are now in their golden years in the downfall, but that doesn't affect them because they've made their money. They've earned their spot. They're fine. They're cemented. They will never face hardship. And the ones that do feel hardship are so brainwashed by the whole idea that it's still attainable that they don't see that they are forever locked away from that prosperity and they'll never see it. I see that side daily out where I am right now. I see it every single day at work when I see people who are covered in sweat, dirt, oil, grime come into my store in a MAGA hat. And they will talk up and down about how America is the greatest country in the world and it will forever be because this is the only country in the world where you can pull yourself up and be the next Bill Gates. While meanwhile, they don't stand a goddamn chance of ever getting there. But the idea that was ingrained into them is enough to make them say, to hell with everyone else, I can get mine still, maybe. And that's enough for them.
Talking about that whole obtainable thing, I remember this was a while ago. This was way before all the riots and stuff. This was years ago. Somebody had did an experiment where they sent resumes out to like 50 companies. And it was the exact same resume, but they put a typically white name on one resume and a typically black name. It was like Jamal Jenkins or something. What?
Albert.
Yeah. Yeah, they put a typically white name on one resume, typically black name on another resume, and it was the same resume. And 80% of the time, the black resume never got called back. Whereas every time that every company that didn't call back the black one called back the white person. And that's the type of systemic nonsense that people are protesting against, that Colin Kaepernick was protesting against. Not because the flag is the flag. Drew Brees, get it together, dude.
Yeah,
Just the dumbest stuff.
There are two companies that, to me, that I have seen actually backing up their. Well, I'll say three, backing up their words that they have posted.
Oh, one of them.
With
they getting a nice purchase of their ice cream.
Yes, Ben and fucking Jerry's. Go
Ben and Jerry's killing it.
Look at their post. They go in. It isn't fancy PR spin. It is
not one of these WWE things where we just like we stand with our black employees. They're going, look, the system is broken. Stop white privilege. And they're just going post after post after post, hard as crap. Hey, remember this time where this black person? We're doing all this for George Floyd, but don't ever forget all these other ones. People like Trayvon and blah blah, and they just kept going on and on, naming people. We need to tear down white privilege, the system, and all this. Whereas other places are just like, yes, we support you as well. Black power.
The second one,
beautiful.
Yes, it was amazing. The second one actually is IGN, because they literally put their money where their mouth is. They actually donated $200,000 towards various charities. So that I'm just like, okay, cool. You are actually...
Yeah, but I've also seen on Twitter in that exact thread a lot of people who were former employees and potential employees of color that said some things. So I think this is
people that are out there like all these companies are talking about we stand by our black employees and such. Are they going to start looking at more people of color to hire?
Yeah.
Like all these game companies, they're just like, we stand behind them.
They can afford to drop that $100K because that's their overage. That's their overhead. They don't need that.
Okay.
When you drop money, that's nothing to me. That just means, okay, you're dropping some of your overhead. Congratulations. You're never going to see or feel that downturn. It's how you treat your people that come through. And IGN especially seems to have a deep history of not treating people fair.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
I'm a little like, this is a publicity stunt. An expensive one, still a publicity stunt.
Fair point. The other one was Nickelodeon.
Nick was crazy with it.
Nick went in.
And yeah, just some of the stuff that I've seen because of that, where, for those that don't know, during Nick Jr., no less, there was a segment in their broadcast where for 8 minutes and 57 seconds, I believe, which was the amount of time that George Floyd had a knee in his neck, there was just a black screen, and all you could hear was an inhale and an exhale for the entirety of that 8 minutes and 57 seconds. And I've seen a bunch of different posts of families being angry at Nickelodeon. Yeah,
why are you doing this? This is the platform for it. These are children.
And then people are responding, many of which black families are like, oh, did you have to have a talk with your child at 5 years old about what to do when police approach? One of the responses was, I want to say Trayvon Martin. I forget which, and this, I should get these facts right, to be perfectly honest. That's on me. One of the police murders of a black civilian recently, where the man's wife and daughter were in the car.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
they released the footage of them in the car, and the, I believe, 3-year-old daughter was calming her mother down, saying, I don't want them to shoot you too. That's a reality that I will, no one in my direct vicinity, as far as people from my hometown, will ever know. Ever.
Yeah, it's scary out there.
And that's some reality for some people. So the people that are like, I don't think this is the right platform,
it's never the right platform with these people. The ones that
Yeah,
complain,
what
this
is the
isn't the right
right
way to
platform?
protest. This isn't the thing to do it on. It's never enough. Martin Luther King was outed for peaceful protesting, and he was assassinated. You see Kaepernick peacefully protesting by kneeling. That's not the right way to do it. Peaceful protesting marches. That's not the right way to do it. It's never the right way to do it. There is
We're
no
going
right.
hard at Sony talking about why are y'all doing this? This is a video game. We want escapism and blah blah blah. Because they push back their
PS5
their event because it was going to be one of the memorials for George Floyd on that day. So they were like, we're pushing it back where you want more people to be heard. And Sony, dude, there's so many people in the comments that are just like, why are you doing this? All lives matter. And they're like, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. And people are like, hey, donate to this place. And they're like, we're looking into it. We're looking at all the best places to donate. There are a lot of people out there doing that. A lot of companies out there doing that. And then you just got people like, this isn't the place for it. What is the place for it?
That's the thing. The people that say that will never admit that there's a place for it. No, sorry. Wrong. I'm wrong. Sorry. The place for it is outside of their site. That is what they want. If you're going to protest, keep it outside of my site. That's what they mean. That's what they intend. If it's in front of them, if it's the things that they care about, and you're protesting inside of it, you're doing it wrong.
That's just like people that were complaining about Apple Music because for all day you couldn't listen to anything but Black music. Like if you went to browse, it would only have Black music playlists of like the Police and all this. I mean, you could still search out other things, but if you hit browse, that's all you would see and hear. And people were complaining about it.
I think that's a little far.
No, but
I want to listen to music,
you were making a point.
But I want to listen to Linkin Park. Leave me alone.
You can still search for Linkin Park and listen to it, but if you hit browse, that's all you were going to see and hear. And that was and people complained about it.
I'd complain. I'm not here for this.
And actually, to backtrack real quick about Nickelodeon, actually, I honestly can't say that I'm believing them because they have a history of, again, placating to the masses. They say the last few Pride days, they've put up, we support LGBTQ, but the writers for Avatar were literally removed from their platform for writing Korra as being LGBT. They stripped the show from air and put it to streaming where it would be seen by less people.
The only thing I can say for things like that are the same people that were in place when they did that the same people that are in place now?
I'm gonna say just because of how business works, more than likely.
I never know.
The top tiers tend to not change out too much.
I mean, and also that it wasn't getting the ratings. It wasn't just that. It wasn't very, very profitable. But it was just like it was already produced, so we'll just throw it.
Had worse ratings than Korra, though, that kept its status as airing on television.
But I'm just saying it wasn't just that.
Oh no, of course not just. But I'm saying there were shows comparatively with poor ratings that were allowed to finish their run on television.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but that does go into, as we have been harping on this entire episode, just the systemic problems in multitudes of areas. Today is police brutality, but work can be done everywhere. There was something that I read pretty recently, and to me this would be a great step amongst the many that need to happen. A number of years ago, apparently the country of South Africa took a good, hard look at their past. They created a board that went over basically the systemic and racially charged violence in their past up to their country's founding. They addressed it, and they started making plans how to address it. That really needs to happen here. Because that is the history of this country, too.
See, this is the thing. I find it very hard because Americans as a whole are privileged. And what I mean by that is they have a choice of simply not to believe in something.
You look at something like Corona, and there are people that to this day argue it's not real. To this very day, people on my Facebook I have had arguments with about whether it's real or not. People are still to this day. Other places aren't like, hey, is this real? They're just like, no, let's fix this now. China's just like, shut it down. Let's get it working. But we are becoming one of the largest meccas of this virus because so many people are like, it's not real, so I don't care. I'm not gonna wear a mask. I'm not gonna wear gloves. I'm not gonna take the safety precautions because I don't need to.
Also,
and it's the same thing.
It's not one of. We are by.
Okay, so we finally grown into the largest.
Oh no, we've been the largest for a long time. So
USA.
The U.S. currently has. There's a site that I've been following ever since the virus started that has up-to-date totals. The U.S. has 1,849,852 confirmed cases. The next highest
still not even testing.
The next highest is Brazil, which has 500,000.
Yeah,
and that's
we are still not even testing in every state.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. So people have the quote-unquote choice to just not see or believe in the racism of this country. Racist stuff doesn't happen. We abolished racism decades ago. What do you mean? No, it's still happening. And that's why I feel like it's very hard to change things like the system because so many people simply do not believe these things are happening. They don't believe Corona's happening. They don't believe racism is happening.
Yeah, you don't. Speaking from someone who historical perspective, the only time systems change as abruptly as you're saying needs to happen, Mike, is through violence.
Oh,
no, that doesn't work.
You say that.
No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
That was
Boston Tea Party never happened.
That was extreme sarcasm.
Civil War never happened. It doesn't work.
Okay, yeah. But it's the unfortunate reality is that we're building there. Like the article you shared a little bit ago now, Mike, that about former Secretary of Defense Mattis, General Mattis. The reality here is that the people who are essentially have been at the very top of our country's military issues are seeing and saying that what's going on is not American in any way. It's not any of the ideals that
it was founded.
The ideal since it was founded, and that goes deep to the military. If one of the top and most celebrated and most well-respected generals, I know loads of people through a couple of my friends that will tell you that Mattis was one of their biggest things they were happy about that Trump put in place, because they figured Mattis would be Trump's leash, essentially. Nothing would happen militarily without Mattis giving the okay. He stepped down because Trump pushed through Syria because he has absolute control of the government, thanks to the branches essentially falling under his control. Well done. But the fact that he came out recently and just even said that what's happening is we're being divided. We've been divided for so long, but now it's being the thumb is being put on the pressure point.
It's on blast.
We're being strangled, if you will, and forced to take sides. The last time this happened, friends, was the Civil fucking War. That was the last time we've been to this extent. And if you look on Twitter, things like even, I think you shared BG, or was it DA, Ice-T, and his tweet saying, look at all the colors in this protest, things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to show you there is a polarization that's already begun, and it's been in the works for a while. It's just
like the dude that was on camera doing a news report, and some dude just came behind him like, yo, Black Lives Matter, bro. If cops would stop killing black people, all this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
That was literally it, and then he just walked away.
It's just like, you gotta wonder, will cooler heads prevail? Will there be some great epiphany? I doubt it. Especially with Trump doing nothing but fueling more fires and more fires. Because let's face it, if he the head of defense right now, the guy who's has Mattis's job, came out and said and blasted Trump, being like, no, the U.S. military should not act like police inside of our borders unless there is an actual insurrection against the American government. That's not what's happening. People are protesting and being murdered for it. This doesn't require soldiers. The National Guard shouldn't even be involved. But if Trump does this, if Trump uses this ridiculous authority he's been given because our politicians are corrupt scumlords, 99% of them essentially, it's going to go that route. And that's just, we're in such a weird spot in history if that goes down. Because you gotta even admit, we're there. You can see the evidence of it. It's like not even thinly veiled anymore. Before it was like, haha, American Civil War, but now it's like, ugh, I mean...
Yeah, I read a quote very recently. Somebody said just there's something along the lines of, we're living in a chapter of a social studies book right now.
Oh boy. Yeah, we've been. We've been since 2016.
Also, shout out to the K-pop people.
That has been so good. For those who don't know, a White Lives Matter hashtag was starting to trend on Twitter. So the good people of the K-pop fandom, as well as Anonymous, decided to flood the hashtag with K-pop stars and music. My personal favorite, in all honesty, was Anonymous's, where it had a bunch of hunky Korean dudes in Anonymous masks dancing.
Oh, and dude, speaking of Anonymous, they came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, they've been silent for a very long time.
Not really. They just haven't been talked about. They've been doing shit, low-key shit.
And then they're just like, hey, Trump, what about all this pedophilia crap you do? And it's like, oh!
And that's the thing.
That's so hard.
That's what Russia has over him. That's what they're holding all of the evidence for that. Hands down, that's what this is. That's why he's Putin's bitch, is because Putin has to know about this and has the evidence of it. But, I mean, not even that. Because let's face it, Anonymous didn't even just come after America. They came after Britain, too, with the Princess Diana thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting to see. For those who are unaware, but Anonymous put out documents from a now deceased MI5 member who on his deathbed admitted to having been ordered by Prince Philip to murder Princess Diana because she was going out the royal family's involvement in a child sex ring as well. What is it with these fucking corrupt top tier scumbags and child fucking rape? I just seriously, like fucking England, us, what the fuck?
It's like one of the ultimate taboos and one of the ultimate like power trips. I'm dominating you.
There's that
but
word
the
again.
The fact that these people have to have kids, like this is how deep rooted that need to dominate goes.
America is gross.
America, apparently Britain too.
The world in general is gross.
People suck. I've been saying it for fucking decades, dude. People suck. It doesn't stop.
I wouldn't even mind if they sucked. If it just, this is just straight the Black Lives Matter stuff. If they just weren't so stupid about it.
Yeah.
If you want to not speak on it, a lot of people say silence is consent for the speaking against Black Lives Matter. I don't care if you speak up on it, but the people that speak against it are what I have a problem with. Because you're just being dumb about it. What are you speaking up against? All lives matter. Yes.
But the thing is, they don't see it in the way we've already described it. They see it as an attack on their status. Well, if Black lives are the ones that are the most important, that means my life is less important. Because they're seeing it as a contest. I've literally had this conversation where I got somebody to admit that literally this is why they say all lives matter. They have said that the reason why they can't support Black Lives Matter is because that puts Black lives ahead of their own. And they can't have that. It's either all lives are equal or none are. But they're not getting that this is literally just to get Black lives on the same level.
Yeah, but right now, Black lives aren't equal.
Yeah.
Exactly, but they don't see it like that. They think, oh, if you make them equal, that means you're putting them above us. They're worried that if you bring someone else up to our level, they could get ahead of us. Or, sorry, not us, me. Because it's very personal for these people.
Yeah,
It's never about the group. People that
Yeah.
say all lives matter, they don't care about the group. They don't care about their wing. They don't care about their group. It's them individually. They're individualists.
Yeah, there's a guy in who I'm friends. I have a lot of random friends from college that I like never really talk to on my Facebook. That I don't unfriend people, so they're just kind of there. And I don't really like to also unfriend people that I disagree with because I don't want to blind myself to
Yeah,
other things.
I don't believe in that part. I feel like you should try your best to educate a lot of people, and once it gets to a point where it's clear they're just going to be pig-headed and stuck in their ways, then you could do whatever.
Yeah,
It's always good
that's
to
what I
support.
agree with. That's me.
But yeah, there's a guy who I went to college with who has been posting different things, and like you said it to a T, Ralph, it's always me, the singular. He was
Yep.
saying it's like, I see all these protestings. Well, my life's been hard too. I've had hardships, what have you, and it's like it's been about me, my hardships, my struggles, and I keep reading these posts and I'm just like, it's not about that at
But the
all.
thing is, these people,
Everyone
they
has
will
had
never get
hardships
it.
in their life. Everyone. Contrary to, everybody,
Everybody's skeletons are equal.
contrary to the joke on this podcast where it's like, ha ha ha, like, money bags, yada yada. There have been struggles and hardships in my life. I just don't talk about them on here typically. Everybody has. But for suburban white boy, my skin color has never been a hardship in my life. That is what is happening with Black Lives Matter.
They can't see that.
And it's I don't blah words. I can't talk right now.
No,
Like that kind of stuff infuriates me.
Yeah,
Like,
it's real. Like it's real bad.
Like,
your point is going completely over your head because you're so stuck in that world that you have for yourself where you are the sun. Everything else goes around you. You
Yeah.
are incapable of empathy or compassion for others because all you care about is yourself.
and that's the biggest thing, like the empathy, the lack of it. Like every single one of us, when we were like in kindergarten, first grade, early school, have probably had the phrase said to us, treat others like you would want to be treated. And I don't know why for 99% of people that lesson just goes away once you hit a certain age.
Because
something-
that's where that's where a good bit of like the systemic influence kicks in.
Yeah, like agreed. And I don't
If
know.
you're never faced, and this is the thing, again, as somebody who has lived in multiple places, like you've never left Columbus, Mike. The Compros, you guys
Ohio.
have been to a few states,
Mm-hmm.
so they get it just as much as me. But as somebody who has lived, let's call it all over, I have experienced different communities, different subcultures of Americana. Whereas if you look at, I'm going to ballpark this estimate just because it's what it feels like in my mind. I know it's not accurate. Don't take me as such. Like 99% of Americans never leave their hometown.
Mm-hmm.
They never get outside of their zone of influence. And so they systemically are incapable of understanding how life can be different a town over, a city over, a county over, a state over, a country over. And if you can't break from that and see that the world is different for different people in different places, how can you expect them to be empathetic and understanding of someone else's hardships? The ability for them to understand that comes from the fact they have left their comfort zone, which is why, again, traveling for college usually is seen as something that changes people Because when somebody goes away for college to someplace they have not experienced a comfort zone, they're forced to clash with cultures. They're forced to clash with other ideologies, races, and nationalities. And that changes perceptions, either for the better or for the worse. You can see people that, come to an enlightenment and realize, oh, wow, I was so ignorant about this. I'm going to help, fight for people's rights. And then there's the others who completely about face and internalize everything and become a castle among themselves and become the uber individualists. And that's kind of what the crux is for this, is that people that never experience anything else than what they're normalized in are incapable of understanding why BLM is a thing. Because they don't have it in the programming. Which is what I see again out here. Perfect. Where I live right now is a very small town. Not maybe 5 of the graduating high school seniors are going away to college. Most of them stay here. They do trade work. They do things with their parents still. And they have no plans to go. When I have conversations with them, it blows their fucking minds, man, that I have been to like 4 different states, have lived there, and I've experienced so much. You can't imagine the looks on their faces when I've told them half the stories of the shit I've experienced, seen, and done in my life. They can't wrap their head around something as simple as going to an anime convention in another state. That blows their fucking mind. I have to use that as an example because it's the smallest on the scale of things.
Oh yeah,
it blows their minds. They say, "Oh, I'd be too nervous. I couldn't do that." Why not? You're so terrified to get out of your comfort zone that you wouldn't even go to do a thing you actually have a slight interest in? There you go. There's this scale of incapability to rationalize another's issues or another's culture, another's ideals, stems from the fact that so many of us are rooted. And that is, based off of my own observations, a massive part of this problem. Because I'm going to tell you right now, people I see from back home in New York who are the most outspoken about this, the Republican side of things, they have never traveled. They grew up in Long Island. They never left their hometown. They to good job because it's New York and you can get a damn good job, make a fuck ton of money there, and you don't have to leave. So that they're affluent, they are well to do, and they still are conservative because they have never experienced anything else in their lives. It is wild. Wild. Tangent over.
It was a good tangent, dude. This is an extremely good one, and it's like...
It's just what I've seen. Again, I have traveled a lot. I have been through a lot. I have seen a lot. And if I had to put my finger on the source of why, as a country, we are incapable of empathy for the broader spectrum of our people, it's because most of our country never leaves their comfort zone. They don't understand what it's like to have their comfort questioned because they are raised and protected by their own.
That is a extremely good summation.
Oh yeah, America needs to have an uncomfortable conversation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we're going to have that conversation with one of 2 creepy uncles in November because we don't really have a good father figure running for presidency in the next term. We got 2 real bad creepy uncles. One of them has done some shit in front of you. The other one has talked about doing shit to you. It's all bad.
The 2 creepy uncles. Oh boy. Wow. Wow. Okay. So, just to kind of sort of end on tiny little light notes, there wasn't really much news this past 2 weeks besides really Black Lives Matter. Obviously, coronavirus is still a thing. If you are protesting, do as best you can, but keep doing what you're doing.
Be careful.
Yes. the
Wear
worst
a mask and gloves. Just be as safe as possible because
Yeah.
Corona's already sucked. It is just massive right now.
Yeah. Worst thing is too is in 2 weeks when cases are going to bloom because of the protests.
Dude, I've legit had people tell me on Facebook like, isn't it funny how all these people are protesting and nobody's getting infected? I'm like, dude, that's not how it works.
It's like, oh, you give it a few days, people will start fucking definitely being some shit.
Yeah. Xenoblade remake came out. Xenoblade Chronicles. I've been playing that. It's been a bunch of fun. DA,
I've just
get
been
it?
stuck in Civilization 6. Epic Games gave that shit away for free, and it's the biggest mistake I've ever made. I strategic simulation game.
Days long games.
Dude, I've had this game for a week. I have completed 4 500 turn games.
Ugh.
Civ is a
I have not
very
won a
long
single
term
game. But this literally my last game ended maybe 5 seconds before you sent the text that your guys' tower came back on. I lost to England in the science rankings by 1 turn. 1 turn in a 500 turn game. I made 1 wrong move along the way and lost. I am upset.
Big and mad.
Should've
Dude, I
done
had
what-
conquered an entire continent. I crushed India. I crushed Scandinavians. I literally eliminated 4 nation states, that's hard to do while you're still chasing a science victory.
I like how
I was
we've
considered
spent.
a warmonger.
I like how we spent this entire podcast like systemic issues, and we go to a game. It's all about like conquer, blood, murder.
Dominate. No, yeah, some levity at the end of everything is still welcome.
The TV rights to Daredevil are going to be coming back to Marvel soon, so fingers crossed that they keep the show. Probably not. SpaceX had its first successful launch of launching humans to space. Successful too. The boosters actually made it back, so kudos on that. The Kingdom Hearts TV show that was announced a few weeks ago is going to be animated. Thank God.
Boo.
Yeah.
You got the
no,
One
we don't-
Piece show. You already have a train wreck coming.
Dude,
We didn't need that shit.
it's gonna be horrendous.
We
I'm gonna
don't
lap
shit.
it up like a dog.
The sequel to the Sonic the Hedgehog movie got greenlit.
I thought it was already greenlit by now.
We can probably talk about this next episode, but apparently there has been a lot of drama in the FGC, specifically the Skullgirls community, because Skullgirls decided to add Sonic Fox as a NPC in the background of one stage.
Yeah.
Okay, let's for next episode, let's get into all the FGC stuff that's been happening.
Yeah,
because
That's
there's
we've
true.
already been going.
there's a lot of news in the FGC.
Okay,
We
I
got
will.
some
I'll
shit
mark
going
that down.
on.
And-
Oh yeah,
We can
Tony
wrap
probably
this
did
up.
their thing by the end, so we could do a bunch of gaming stuff. So it's not bail ended. We don't bail in this Black Lives Matter episode with,
Yeah.
hey, Sonic Fox, look at what
Yeah.
Mhm.
he's got people mad.
Yeah, let's cut what we're
Oh,
at.
they. I
Yeah.
always do that. This is something I've done a lot of times. I also did it with Stephanie. When I'm so used to calling someone something, it naturally in my mind goes Sonic Fox Heat, even though they
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
referred to as they. Just like with Stephanie, if I say 16-bit, it quickly in my mind just goes he instead of she. So sometimes I'll slip up like that. I just wanted to
But
get you
usually they
corrected
respect
because
effort.
it's very unfortunate, but we're taking their month.
No,
we already had one in February. I was just like, hey, but LGBT, no, we'll get to you in a couple days. But right now, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, no, I've made that mistake a few times in the editing community, but
Mhm.
it seems to be that as long as you respect the fact that you're not doing it maliciously,
Yeah.
seem to be pretty understanding.
I feel like a lot of people do it maliciously. Like
Oh,
a
I know,
lot
I've
of
seen
people
it
just
maliciously.
purposely be like she to a
Yeah.
trans man. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
And
Yeah.
the last little bit was, it's not really like anything super big news, but I just
Don't
loved
answer
the
the
headline
fly.
of this article. Oscar-winning and perfectly casted actor J.K. Simmons recalls his nerve-wracking Spider-Man audition in the future of J. Jonah Jameson. I just love the perfectly casted actor because it is so
And he's
damn
coming back for
true.
several films.
Oh,
it's gonna be so
Cannot
good.
wait.
But yeah. So
Got
with
any
that,
Not a fact, but it's a very funny tweet that I found.
Okay,
I
I'm
just
good
like
with
to
that.
read.
Yep, please do.
So, Spanish porn star Nacho Vidal, who likes to advertise his aromatic candle shaped like his male genitalia on Twitter, has been arrested for manslaughter charges following a man's death during a mystic ritual in which he inhaled psychedelic toad venom. That is a
wow.
roller coaster of a headline.
What?
Whoa.
All right, folks, I'm tuning into this week of the podcast stuff.
I feel like I just inhaled the toad venom. Hearing
We
that.
done here. We're
So-
done here.
With that, thank you everybody for tuning into this episode. For those that are out protesting, keep doing what
Stay
you're
safe.
doing. You're doing great things. Be
Stay
safe. We will see you in roughly 2 weeks, just because, you know, Ralph's schedule. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Later.